The architecture of manipulation. You know that feeling when you look back at an old argument you had online and think, why was I so angry about that? That wasn't an accident. Let me show you the invisible architecture that makes rational people do irrational things. Most of us think manipulation works like this. Someone lies to you. You believe the lie. You act on the belief. But modern manipulation is way more sophisticated than that. It doesn't target your beliefs. It targets your state. Here's what I mean. Traditional persuasion tries to change what you think. Modern manipulation changes how you think by controlling your emotional state, your information environment, and your cognitive capacity in real time. Think less, convince, and more regulate. I've been analyzing how this works, and it follows a cybernetic pattern, like a thermostat constantly adjusting temperature. Except instead of temperature, it's regulating your behavior. And the scary part, most people never realize it's happening. The system has 5 phases, each one sets up the next. By the time you reach the end, the tools you'd normally use to resist have already been quietly disabled. Let me walk you through them. Phase 1, the sensor grid. Before the system tries to change you, it measures you. Not your opinions, those don't matter yet. It's measuring your vulnerabilities. How do you handle uncertainty? Which emotions override your critical thinking? What do you need most? Safety, status, belonging. This is why your social media feels like it knows you. It does. Every pause, every scroll, every angry comment is data about what makes you tick, and more importantly, what makes you break. The system is thin slicing you in real time. But here's the really clever part. The sensor phase isn't just collecting data, it's testing. Mild content gets pushed your way, not to persuade you, but to map your boundaries. What language triggers you? What framing slips past unnoticed? It's stress testing your mental defenses. Phase 2, the controller. Once the system knows your vulnerabilities, it selects the right script for your emotional state. Anxious. Here's a threat narrative. Lonely. Here's a belonging narrative. Skeptical. Here's cognitive exhaustion. So many sources, so much complexity. This is why counter-arguments often fail. You're attacking the content of the message. But the message was never about content. It was about triggering a specific emotional state that bypasses your analytical mind. You're playing chess while the system is playing neuroscience. Each emotional state narrows your possibility space. Anxiety state. Time horizon, immediate. Risk tolerance, 0. Decision mode, shortcuts. Anger state. Moral reasoning, binary. Empathy, offline. Action bias, maximum. The controller doesn't create these states. It just traps you inside them. Phase 3. The Effector, Part A, Destabilization. Now comes the rewiring. First step, destroy your confidence in your own perception. A person who trusts what they see is hard to control. A person who doubts everything they see will grab onto anything that promises certainty. How destabilization works. Fire hose of falsehood. So much information, you can't verify it all. Gaslighting. Your internal signals become unreliable. Are you sure that happened? Cognitive dissonance. Chronic mental stress with no resolution. You're not confused by accident. Confusion is the point. A disoriented mind doesn't seek truth. It seeks relief. And conveniently, the system is right there, ready to offer you a simple story that makes the chaos make sense. Notice you weren't convinced. You were rescued. Phase 3. The Effector, Part B, Isolation. Once your internal compass is broken, external inputs become everything. So the system controls those too. Not through censorship, that's obvious. Through cost. In a healthy information environment, diverse sources are easy to access. Verification is feasible. Dissent has low social cost. In a controlled environment, approved sources are easy and rewarding. Verification is exhausting. Dissent is betrayal. You can leave, but the activation energy becomes massive. This is why just Google it doesn't work. The person isn't being lazy. They've been conditioned over time that outside information is complicated, hostile, painful, disloyal. It's not a wall. It's a gradient, and you've been walking downhill. Phase 3. The Effector, Part C, Re-Encoding. Now the system installs a new reality, not through argument, through identity replacement. Beliefs are propositions. They can be questioned. Identity is who you are. Questioning it feels like self-destruction. Watch the transformation. I believe X, a claim. I'm someone who understands X, identity linked. People like us know X, group identity. Only bad people question X, moral identity. At that final stage, the belief has become load-bearing. You can't remove it without collapsing. The big lie works because it's too big to process. Normal claim, evidence accept or reject. It's not content anymore. It's infrastructure. Phase 4, the output, action. Here's the trap, springing shut. Beliefs fade, actions lock them in. Once you act publicly, especially if it's extreme, 3 things happen instantly. Cognitive dissonance spikes. You must justify what you did. Identity crystallizes. Your behavior revealed your true self. Social bonds harden. Others witnessed it. Walking it back means losing face. The system doesn't need to convince you anymore. You're now convincing yourself. This is why the system pushes toward offline action. A heated comment, you can delete that. Showing up to a protest, confronting a neighbor, that's real. And once it's real, the sunk cost fallacy kicks in. I wouldn't have done that unless I really believed it. Right? The moral inversion completes. This action was necessary. They deserved it. I'm brave for doing it. This is who we are. You're not defending the action anymore. You're defending yourself through the action. Phase 5, feedback, self-sustaining control. The most elegant part, the system gradually withdraws. Because by now, you're doing the work yourself. External enforcement becomes internal. You police your own thoughts. You imagine what the group would think. You preemptively self-correct. You punish your own doubt. The surveillance is inside you now. The system doesn't need to watch anymore. And here's the final cruelty. Each phase disabled the tool you'd need to resist the next one. By the end, escape doesn't feel wrong. It feels impossible. So, what do we do with this knowledge? First, recognize the architecture. When you feel that pull towards certainty during confusion, that's not clarity. That's the rescue script activating. When everyone around you agrees a little too perfectly, that's not truth. That's gradient control. Second, name your state. Am I angry right now? Is that anger being directed? Am I exhausted? Is someone benefiting from my exhaustion? Do I feel like I must act right now? Who benefits from urgency? The system loses power when you see the control layer. Third, maintain your information topology. Keep diverse sources accessible. Keep the cost of verification low. Keep dissent socially tolerable. Not because you need to hear both sides, because you need to preserve exit routes from controlled gradients. Fourth, separate belief from identity. Hold claims at arm's length. I currently think X is defensible. I am someone who knows X is a trap. People like us believe X is the cage locking. Keep your beliefs evaluable. Don't let them become load-bearing identity infrastructure. Fifth, delay action under pressure. If you feel you must act right now, that's a red flag. Legitimate action can survive a pause. Manipulated action requires urgency to bypass reflection. Give yourself 48 hours. See if the feeling persists when your state changes. This isn't about being smarter. Smart people fall for this constantly, sometimes because they're smart. Complexity is a weapon too. This is about recognizing when your cognitive state itself is being used against you. The system doesn't need to convince you of anything. It just needs to control which version of you is making the decision. The anxious you, the exhausted you, the angry you, the isolated you. Those versions are real, but they're not the full you. Once you see the architecture, you can't unsee it. You'll start noticing the emotional routing, the information gradients, the identity hooks, the urgency pressure, the isolation cues, and once you notice them, they lose their grip. Not completely, but enough. We're living through an unprecedented experiment in behavioral control at scale. The tools are more sophisticated than ever. But the good news, awareness is the first layer of defense. You don't need to be invulnerable. You just need to see when you're being played. If this thread made you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort might be the most honest feeling you have all week. Sit with it. Don't immediately seek relief from it. That relief-seeking reflex? Yeah, that's exactly what I've been talking about. Stay sharp out there.